Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I am so thrilled to introduce our special guest today, Kristen White. She's going to be diving into the details of Omega Q, explaining exactly what it is, how it can benefit you, and why it's a product that you do not want to miss. Without further ado, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Kristen White.
Hi, welcome everybody. So this is our fourth week doing some product training on another one of our foundational products. And this one is our Omega Q, and this is our fish oil. And if you haven't seen it, this is what it looks like. And if you look at it, it is going to say heart and brain function. And when we think about fish oil, we're obviously thinking heart health, right? We're thinking, how can we get our cholesterol maybe in check, getting our arteries working better for us, all those things. But I'm going to tell you a little bit why our fish oil is superior and how it does more than just work for your heart. So before I do all those details and the ingredient details, I got to tell you why ours is the best fish oil on the market. So when you're talking to your customers about fish oil and they're gonna say, maybe I already take a fish oil, or why is yours better? I got to tell you a little background about ours, because one, you're going to notice you're not going to taste the fish oil if you burp it, which to me is a huge thing. That's a big plus for my husband, because it took me a while to get him to convince to take fish oil. So let me tell you a little bit about ours and why it's a little bit better than, well, not a little bit better, a lot better than most of them on the market. So most fish oils on the market are going to be one, either farm raised or they're just going to be from big fish. So let's talk about farm raised fish. We don't want farm raised fish because why? They're overcrowded. And that's one, bad, because we're thinking overcrowded fish, farm raised fish, they're going to be exposed to more disease, more toxins, which means they're going to be fed GMO food, that maybe they're treated with antibiotics. They're going to be treated more, right? And that is not a good thing. They're going to have disease. And well, that's not something I want in a fish oil product, right? That's not something I want to be taken in. So farm raised fish are a no-go. So then we're already thinking, okay, so I got to go to ocean fish. Well, that's good. But then what kind of ocean fish do I want to look at? Am I going to big fish? Well, you don't really want a big fish, because big fish live a long time. We got to think about oil, right? Oil, where do we store our toxins? We store them in our fat, just like we do. So if I'm thinking of a whale, they're going to live a long time. They live like 70 to 90 years. What does that mean? Well, they're exposed to more toxins. Well, mackerel are actually a really good source of omegas, but they live like 30 years. Same with tuna, same with some salmon. They live a long time. So that means they're going through the ocean waters, absorbing the heavy metals, absorbing the toxins, storing them in their oils. I don't want that. So what do we use? We use sardines and anchovies. They live like 2 to 5 years. Big difference. So their toxin load is a lot lower. So it's a huge deal to be thinking about what type of fish you're actually using. Also, you want to also look at the extraction process. So if we're thinking that the other companies are going for bigger fish, then they have to use a different extraction process to pull those heavy metals out. So they're going to be using a hexane type of extraction, which is a petroleum base. And since they're using that type of extraction, like governing officials actually, they have to allow this to come out, so which leaves a little hexane residue, because you can't have those heavy metals left over, because we know those are very toxic and lead to metal poisoning. So they allow a little bit of hexane residue in their fish oil. It's like a compromise. It's like, we'll let you have a little bit of the hexane as long as you pull that heavy metal out. But we don't do that. We use a low temperature enzyme drying fermentation purification process. It is a patented process. We do not get that. We use a company, but because we use such small fish and we don't have a heavy toxic load, we can use this different type of process, so we don't have any hexane residue left in our fish, which also is why you don't burp it, you don't taste it. It's a much cleaner source. It keeps the anti-inflammatory properties in much better intact. So it's a much superior product. It's why my husband will take this one because he doesn't burp it. It's also why his cholesterol levels are going down. And it's also why we're able to stay off statins because his cholesterol levels are up. Even though he's 39, it's just a genetic thing. So, cholesterol can be one of those things. Heart issues are, and we are trying to fight all those things with nutritional products. So let's dive into some of the ingredients. Obviously, we have omega-3 fatty acids in here. So let's talk about that versus omega-6s. Omega-3s are going to be from fish. And you really need a balance of omega-3s to 6s. You're going to get plenty of 6s with your diet. So people will say to me, I probably get enough omegas. Let me tell you, you get enough omega-6. You are eating enough omega-6. You do not need to be supplementing with omega-6. You're getting it with butter. You're getting it with fish. You're getting it with avocados. You're getting it with almonds. You do not need to be doing any more omega-6s. You absolutely need a balance of 3 to 6 because your omega-3s are anti-inflammatory and your 6s actually are inflammatories. You need the balance. And when you have too much 6 and not enough 3s, you're going to be imbalance, okay? And that can cause a problem if you don't have the right balance. Actually, too much of the 6 can actually create an enzyme called aromatase, and that can lead to hormone disruption. It can lead to too much in men, too much estrogen, actually in women too. So it can lead to an androgen deficiency. We don't want that. Look that up. It's just a bad thing. So you really want the balance. You need the right balance of the 3 to go with the 6. So if you're not if you're not eating fish every day, and I'm telling you I'm not, I love fish, but it's almost impossible to eat that every day, right? I mean, just it is what it is. So 2 of these a day put in your diet can help keep the balance because more than likely you're getting enough of the 6. So hormone production, hormone stabilization, this can absolutely help with that, getting the decreasing inflammation in the arteries. So obviously this will help with getting LDL down, which is heart health, but really it gets the inflammation down in the arteries, which is also why it's so good for the heart. Another thing it does is brain health. So people don't really think of this, but your brain is 60% fat, contains 60% fat. DHA, which is part of the ingredient here, is 25% of that. And that's actually in the frontal cortex. That's your memory, your focus, your concentration, your attention. So think if you don't have enough DHA there, think about how important that is, like just daily living. So it's a huge foundational product. It's a huge foundational supplement. If you're not able to eat it, to absolutely supplement with it. Your brain needs it for regeneration, repair, function. Fighting free radicals, you absolutely don't want inflammation in the brain, right? Because it can cause disease, degenerative disease. So keeping that balance there is super critical. If you didn't know, there's also CoQ10 in this product. So I love the fact that they added that enhancer in here. That is coenzyme 10. And it is like the spark plug to your cell. It is the energy production of the cell. It is needed to make energy, to make ATP. It's needed for the mitochondria. Every cell in your body needs CoQ10 to function, but it is super beneficial to your heart. It is super beneficial to your brain. It is super beneficial to your lungs. It's great for your immune system. But like most importantly, like you have to have fat for CoQ10 to be absorbed, and they put it in here, and it's also a great antioxidant. So like I love that like our company thinks about these things, so they add it in. So like they're always upping like the ante, like they're thinking next level, and then they put noni in. So like noni didn't used to be in here, so they've added it and made it even a little bit better. So overall, if you haven't tried this, like it's a hands down no brainer for me. I've used this one now, I don't know how many years. It's great for your heart. It's great for your brain. It's great for inflammation, full body. It's great for your hormones. And then CoQ10 is it's of course in here, and we'll talk about BioProQ another day. But I love that the CoQ10 is already in here, because if you don't need extra CoQ10, you're getting a little bit every day in here. And so to me, it's like one of the most well-rounded omega products that you can find on the market, because you get the extra next levels. So I hope that was helpful. And someone's asked a question. Would you recommend this over BioProQ for improved brain function? I personally would, because the DHA and the EPA that's in it. And there's lots of studies. I always recommend people do their research, but there's lots of studies that show fish oil and the benefits of those with preventing degenerative brain disease. And I do lots of reading on that. And it's very, very critical to have those in for preventing cognitive disease. So do your research always, because I'm not a doctor, but lots of research has been linked to fish oil and prevention of cognitive decline. So I hope that was helpful.
And just to add one thing to that, Kristen, there's a gentleman named Gary Brecka. He's one of the top scientists in the world. He was in charge of all the insurance companies of helping them predict lifespan on the issuing of life insurance policies. So he says that if I was going to choose one supplement, an omega-3 would be it, because one of the major reasons for inflammation in the body is an omega-3, omega-6 imbalance.
Yes.
And we are, as Kristen said, we're just so inundated with omega-6s. It's basically, the 6s are in all the bad food we eat, from fast foods to you name it.
And they're also in good foods. So like avocados, the avocado ratio is 1:13, 13 being the 6s and the 1 being the 3. It still has some 3 in it, but it's mainly 6. And so if you're not eating fish almost every day, you're almost going to be imbalanced, because we're just ridden with omega-6. And it's not that it's bad for you, you just need the balance, or otherwise you're going to have inflammation. You're going to be pro-inflammation. So this is super important. I just can't, you'll notice it in your joints. You'll notice it even your joints will be beneficial. It's just super. I can't wait for my husband to get his results back, because he's fought me on Reese was the skeptic in the business. My husband has been skeptical on products until I finally was like, my blood work is so much better than yours, boy. Like, finally, you're going to believe me. So he's believing me now. So super excited to show him the proof.
Yeah. And this is not a product claim, a company claim, but if you just do exactly what Kristen says she did, if you just go Google and look at the research on the relationship of good omega-3s in the body as it relates to preventative situations with cognitive decline, you'll be amazed at how important the omega-3 is. It's also very important in the weight loss scenario. But the last thing I want to mention is the CoQ10 in there is the good form of CoQ10. And yes, CoQ10 is the most integrated nutritional product into the medical world. A very high majority, way more than 50% of cardiologists now recommend it, because it's really, really big in the heart muscle. But CoQ10 is the catalyst at the mitochondrial level in energy production. So anybody you know that has low energy should always be on a CoQ10 supplement. And the last thing I'll say about the CoQ10 is that everybody that's on a statin drug, that's the drugs given for the high bad cholesterol, that's right, is a CoQ10 depleter. So almost all of those people will end up with low energy syndrome if they are consciously aware of supplementing their CoQ10. So I love this product. It's one of those products that Ash and I will never let run out. It's one of our daily deals. And many times I superdose it. I never do less than 2. Some days, Kristen, I do as many as 6.
And this is what it looks like. So if you don't know what it looks like in your back office, it's the taller orange bottle, and the CoQ10 is the shorter one.
Well, thank you so much, Kristen, for all of those nuggets, because I learned a lot today. Wow.
Awesome.